Welcome to Unit 4, Recording Settings. In this unit, we'll touch on what resolution is, what frame rate is, and what exposure is. Resolution is the height and width of your video measured in the number of pixels. Our cameras offer resolutions of 1920 by 1080, 1280 by 720, and 640 by 480. 1920 by 1080 is the highest resolution these cameras offer when recording video. The only benefit to recording in 640 by 480 is that you'll have a smaller file size. However, you lose a lot of quality because of the smaller resolution. Video is made up of still images that pass by the screen quickly. Frame rate measures how many of these frames pass by the screen per second. Our cameras can record in 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, and 60 frames per second. 30 frames per second is pretty standard and is probably what you'll be using most of the time. 24 frames per second can be used if you're going for a theatrical look. Because there are less frames per second, motion will be a little more jaggedy. The benefits to recording in 60 frames per second are sharper slow motion, higher frame rate, and smoother action and movement. On the downside, you can only record in a resolution of 1280 by 720. To set your recording resolution and frame rate, first press the Q button, then arrow down to the option that says Movie Recording Size. Use the left and right arrows to choose the resolution and frame rate that you want. Then press the Set button. Exposure is simply how bright your shot is. Notice how the exposure is changing in this shot. When recording with these cameras, you can either record with manual exposure or auto exposure. Recording in auto exposure can be easier, however, there are some negative side effects. For example, if the lighting is changing around you, the camera will try to compensate by adjusting its exposure. To set your camera to auto exposure mode, first flip the power switch up to the video option. Then make sure the dial is set to any of the auto options. And you're all set. Although recording in manual exposure is a bit more advanced, there are many benefits that come with it. You have much more control over your shot and can control some creative aspects as well, which will be covered in the next 3 units. To set your camera to manual exposure mode, again, flip the power switch up to the video option. Then turn the dial to the manual option. And you're all set.